I think it's amazing that we have access to social media and podcasts and books and all of these things, but we have to be so careful with what we're consuming. Also, on our phones, like, who needs you? I'm very cautious with how quickly I respond to things, with how much I'm tuned into things. Like, do you want people to have access to you 24/7? Hi guys, I'm Jenna Kennedy, and I am so excited to be on this series with you. I honestly don't even know what to call myself nowadays. I once upon a time was a 7-figure business coach, and then I went through this massive season of, you could say, burnout, but really rediscovering who it is that I am and the work that it is that I want to do in this world. And so I'm breaking into a completely new industry. And honestly, at this season in my life, I'm living, I'm learning, I'm growing a human, and I'm just bringing people along on that ride and on that journey to really build a life and a business and a legacy and an impact that is so uniquely yours and nobody else's. So come on along. I'm excited to be on this series, and see you there.
Hey, I'm Taylor Davis. Welcome to Wildly Satisfied. I hope you enjoy the show. We're in part 3. I believe it's part 3. We're in the next episode, and I love the conversation that we're having about burnout and just being able to actually bring joy and peace and satisfaction back into your life. And for everyone that's listening, I really want to just focus a little bit on the curiosity thing that we've been talking about quite a bit recently, because curiosity is a big value of mine. It always has been, of just how do you approach life? Just be curious about it, be open. And when it comes to the conversations we've been having about burnout and being a CEO and being a feminine leader, even if you're not fully burned out, you don't have to wait till then. And where can we shift to be a little bit more curious about what does bring us joy and satisfaction and success, and approaching it from more of a, how do I want my life to live and be lens, and continuing the conversation with Jenna Kennedy around this. I'm so excited. We're gonna dive a little bit more into, I would say, a little bit more of the neuroscience behind it, because I know one thing that I saw a lot on her Instagram stories was you're diving into happiness. You're taking a course on it around positive psychology and things like that. And something, I was recently in a conversation with someone who was incredibly burned out. And she said, I find myself, first of all, when I was like, okay, well, we got to slow down, immediately I saw her brain go, what? Like, we can't do that. Can't slow down. Meanwhile, you can tell, like, in her eyes, she was burned. And she was like, I always find myself chasing dopamine highs. And I said to her, I was like, okay, well, first of all, don't shame yourself for that, because there was a part of her that was like, the way that she was talking about it, she was like, I know I shouldn't do that. And I was like, but your body and your brain is telling you that you want happiness and peace and all these things. So instead of shaming yourself for the dopamine chasing that you might be doing, get curious about it and see what it's trying to tell you instead. See where the dopamine chase is actually giving you little tidbits of, oh, maybe this does bring me joy. As long as it doesn't go from a place of avoidance. I don't know what the word would be. And I know that you really had some beautiful words on dopamine chasing. So let's just dive right in. We'll talk about boundaries and standards and setting up new ways to be able to operate so that we're not operating from old models. So I'd love to hear about you diving into the positive psychology course. And if you want to start with dopamine, let's go there.
Yeah, I mean, dopamine's like all the rage. You know, everyone's like, let's talk about dopamine. And we need to be, because dopamine's responsible for so many things, but mostly in relation to this topic is that we got to realize that we get these little surges in dopamine when we have a desire to start working toward a goal, when we actually start to like tick things off and like we're working toward the goal, and then when we achieve the goal, right? So dopamine is responsible in this entire process. And what's wild about dopamine is it's kind of like a whirlpool or like a wave, actually, where like we have a spike in dopamine, and then whenever we have a spike, it's going to always crash, right? So it's like, it would be really cool if we could just like live on up here, but we can't. We can't without drugs. We can't. So it's like we have this like this heightened spike in dopamine, and then without question, without fail, it's going to go below baseline, which is what we have to realize, is that it's going to go below baseline. And so the more intense the dopamine rise, then the harder the drop.
Okay.
And then we're going to return back to baseline. So why is this important as we're talking about burnout and entrepreneurship and feminine leadership? Well, we talked about the last couple episodes, when you're setting a new goal and you have a desire for the goal. Then, okay, crashed. We go to sleep, we sleep well, that's how we replenish it. And then we're working toward the goal, and then we're crashing, and then we're achieving the goal, and then we're crashing, right? And then like rest and calm down, right?
Like rest and calm down. Calm yourself.
Like replenish it, you know? Unfortunately, fortunately, however you want to look at it, as this entrepreneurial space in general, this leadership space in general, we're always setting higher goals. And we're always seeing homegirl over here that just got this many views on her reel, so then I want to create better content. And then, oh my gosh, I went on this vacation. It was so good, but I want a better one, right? We're living in this world where we're constantly comparing. Even if you don't realize that, we're seeing things outside of ourselves that's making us set like bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger goals, which means bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger crashes.
Okay.
Which means it's harder and harder and harder to get back to baseline and sustain a baseline. Okay. So when you look at burnout through the lens of dopamine, okay, well, wait a second. What is a dopamine deficiency? I'm uninspired. I don't want to work. I'm not creative. I'm disconnected. Like, dopamine is very much intermingled and intertwined within burnout and within recovery. So how do we actually get ourselves back to a baseline? The only thing that you can do to get yourself back to a baseline is rest. And we don't want to hear that.
Yeah, especially the high achievers in the room.
We don't want to hear that, but we know this. You feel it, and then you know it. So then the question is, and when I'm coming out of this burnout, or like I want to like sustain success, like how in the world do I do this? Well, I really do believe that the answer is rooted in neuroscience, because it's rooted in the chemicals within our body that are driving us and that are helping us live and succeed. And so what does that look like? Well, it's like taking a look at, where am I getting my dopamine hits from? Because we also get dopamine from our phones. We also get dopamine hits from social media. We also get dopamine hits from big money or milestones, right? We get dopamine hits when we launch something new, and then it's like, holy moly, I've launched something new, now what? Right? We get these surges in dopamine when these things happen. So we have to just be aware of them, but then also look at structuring other aspects of our lives where we can rest from them, and when we can have lower dopamine type activities within our life that sustain, us really more healthy at a baseline, so that we've got the energy to be able to do these things to move forward.
Okay, so I definitely want to talk about the sustaining of the baseline, because that's sustainability is like the name of my game. I fucking love it. And I want to touch really quickly on rest, because whenever I talk to someone, and I recognize this in myself, but whenever I talk to someone who's perhaps like in depression or they're not feeling well, they're like, I've been resting, I've been sleeping, I've been nonstop, right? I see that all the time. And I'm like, yeah, well, you can be sleeping, but not resting. Yeah. So what does that in neuroscience, what does resting in this context look like? What are some examples of what that could be? Of course, yes, sleep. You do need to sleep, but what else have you seen? Do you have times in your day that you're not experiencing stress? Do you have times in your day where you're not forward thinking? Like, are your mind and your body truly in a state of like, because you could be laying on the couch resting, but you can be scrolling on social media. That is not doing it. That's not doing it. It's actually like keeping you more alert. Number one, the light, obviously, from like a biohacking standpoint, like the blue light that's constantly, but also it's like you're searching for something, you're wanting to get something, you're like wanting to be entertained. That's not doing it. Yeah. It's not. Like, look at how much we're on our phones. It's not doing, and it's tough because where we create as leaders is often where we're consuming. And so to have your own boundaries of, I'm on this phone to create right now, or I'm on this phone to consume. I think it's amazing that we have access to social media and podcasts and books and all of these things, but we have to be so careful with what we're consuming on a regular basis. Also on our phones, like, who needs you? Because I know right now, after this, if I pick up my phone, I'm probably going to have some texts from family and or friends, probably my husband. I don't want people, like, I'm very cautious with how quickly I respond to things, with how much I'm tuned into things. Like, do you want people to have access to you 24/7? No.
right? But we had this thing where if the phone rings, we should probably answer it.
Yeah.
Or if the friend texts, we should probably respond. That's not rest.
No, and I actually, one of the standards I have in my life is I actually tell people, I'm like, please don't expect me to respond right away.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with you. I might respond tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the middle of something or I'm doing something. It's not because I think less of you.
Yep.
It's not because of anything to do with you. I'm not attached to my phone.
Yeah.
And it's been a really big, like even some people I talk to, they're like, oh my God, I don't want to bother you. I'm like, you're not bothering me. Just know that I promise I will return to you, but I've made it a big part of my life where I don't attach to my phone.
Yeah. Keep it on silent, keep your notifications off.
Yep.
You know, but also, like you said, like curiosity. If you're finding yourself the need to respond right away, be curious.
Yeah.
Why do I feel like I need to respond? Like, why am I worried about saying this to this friend at this time or whatever it is? Because I bring this up because when I was in my season of rest, I literally unfollowed people for I was following nobody for 6 months. Even now I follow a very, very small number of people. I wasn't really creating a lot of content, but I was realizing that I still was attached to this phone. And I was like, oh my gosh, because this phone is connecting me to other people. And so much of my work that I had to do around rest was my enmeshment in so many people's lives, including my families, including my friends, including clients. Like, it's a big thing in the coaching world to give people Voxer access to you or WhatsApp or Telegram access to you. Why?
That's also a lot of energy that's like, not like leaky energy, but it's like going in, you didn't realize that it was going in all these different directions. It can be very leaky. Yeah, that's a lot.
It is. Or you need me to respond this many times a day.
Yeah.
Right? It's all of my coaching packages.
Yeah.
They had access to me in Voxer.
Right. So how has that been normalized? Like, how has that shifted? Because you said that that's been normalized. It's like, why do they have access like that?
Yeah, it's been normalized, and you can charge more if you have more access to somebody, you can charge more.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how it's been for any coaches I've ever worked with.
Yeah. I remember that. I've done that. I have that in some of mine as well, but it's very few and far between. Because it does. You're constantly connected to someone else. So you were talking about the enmeshment and how you were looking at all the different relationships and how your energy was going in those directions.
Yeah.
So
which was away from me.
Right. Okay. Right? And it was creating a sense of, what was the word that you would use for that? Would it be like unease, leaky energy, whatever it was that was not allowing you to rest, basically?
Yeah, because even if you're not attached to this device, you can go take a nap and wake up and know that somebody's going to be waiting for you right now. There's something for me to do right now. Forward thinking. My schedule's clear, yet the moment I pick up this phone, I'm going to have things to do or people to answer to. That is a lot of stress on the body. That you're constantly needed somewhere. That no matter what, when you touch that phone, you're going to have some work to do, even if it's not actually work.
Yeah.
I think about this with somebody who's working a 9 to 5. They're at 9 to 5, so they're pretty shut off. And the moment that they go home, okay, now I got to do this. It's unrealistic to expect that many people can have access to you in that way. It's really unrealistic.
Yeah, I feel like I watched this 90s movie the other day, and they didn't really have cell phones. They didn't have cell phones at all.
Yeah.
And how they had to go chase someone down to like go to their house to talk to them, or like, oh, I'm going to see you at the coffee shop or something like that. And I was like, wow, your lives must have been so much better because more peaceful because people didn't have access to you all the time. And I get that too, in terms of something has shifted in our culture around social media and technology and things in the last 20 years or so, around people having more access to you and it becoming normalized.
Yes.
That is how life is, and that's not how life's always been.
And it's not how it should be.
It's not how it should be.
No.
And if there's any part of us that are attached, which is why I tell my friends, I'm like, please don't expect me to respond right away.
Right.
Because we sometimes attach to someone responding.
For sure.
Quickly.
Yeah, we create stories.
We create stories around it, which causes even more stress.
Yeah.
And more burnout and more attachment and all the things. And so it's really, I definitely looking at, like, your phone is such a big part of that. What were some of the other things with the dopamine chasing side of things?
Well, the phone phone and my roles and all of that were huge in and of itself. But so much of it was, rooted in business, achievement, success. God, look at social media. I had to go through a whole entire like death and rebirth around social media in general. You know, we talk about followers, you know, like the followers don't matter and your engagement doesn't matter. Yes, it does to every single person.
Yeah.
Every human. I've got friends that have massive followings. It matters to every single person. And I had to explore that. Like, what is our identity within this? What stories are we creating around this and versus around this versus around that versus around this number of views, like this number of followers, whatever it is. Like, what are the stories that we're creating around that? And where are our boundaries around letting this app affect our self-worth, our happiness, our belief in ourselves?
Yeah.
The number of clients that I've worked with, and I've gone through this too, the number of people that I've worked with and friends that have had conversations around their belief in their goals, in their dreams, and how intertwined it is with their social media follower account and how much engagement they're getting. It's insane. It's insane, but that's the conditioning that we're living in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we get hits of dopamine and like rushes when we get like a really good post with really good engagement. And then what do you do? You post again and you don't get that because it's an algorithm we're all working with.
Yeah.
I was just talking to somebody last night. I'd met him for the first time and he's got over 1 million followers, really big podcast brand, really beautiful leader in this world. And we were talking about that. And he was like, it's such bullshit that people at Meta are like, well, we don't really know what the algorithm's doing. And it's like, yes, you do.
Yeah.
Because they're creating it.
Yeah.
But they don't want us to know what it's doing.
No.
Right?
And I mean, if you even just look at social media, because I love looking at culture and society and like what certain tools are doing to it.
Yeah.
Even the language of followers.
Right.
Likes.
Right.
Comments. All of it. All of it is to keep your attention on there. And we know that that's the goal. And so for them to be like, oh, we don't know what it's doing. You know exactly what it's doing. It's keeping people on the app. Yeah. Spiking their dopamine.
100%.
Getting them attached to and having stories and all of these things to keep them inside of a loop around that.
And they will admit that. If you ever watch the documentary Social Dilemma, it is absolutely mind-blowing. And the people who, for those of you who have not watched it, the people who have essentially come out against a lot of these apps used to work at the apps. And their number one job was, how addicting can we make these apps? And they realized, even though that they knew that they were all making them addicting, they were still addicted. And they were like, hold on. It's kind of like cigarettes, like people who know that they're going to cause cancer, but they still smoke anyway. Yeah. Right. And they were like, we can't even break this addiction. How can we expect people who don't even know what's happening to break this addiction? And it's really scary. And so one of the best things with dopamine and social media, well, two of the best things, and I'm going to say this a lot easier said than done. Number one, don't touch it in the morning.
Oh yeah, definitely not in the morning.
And listen, like, it is hard.
Yeah.
But I've learned, how can I structure my environment? When we're talking about boundaries and standards, and right, how can we structure our environment? We have piss poor willpower.
Oh yeah,
myself included.
That has been completely like disproven.
Dude,
we have not good willpower, guys.
We all suck at it. Let's be honest with ourselves, right? Like we don't have good willpower. And so how can I set up my environment to be more like neuroscience friendly? And how can I set up my environment to support my mind and my body, my physical, my mental, and my emotional health, instead of trying to rely on me not touching my phone when it's next to my bed?
Well, yeah, because you're trying to force yourself out of doing something versus saying, okay, well, how can I actually structure it to go towards something that's better for me?
Exactly.
It's the fighting against versus moving forward with.
And we don't need to be in war with ourselves.
No.
It's not this like I versus like I don't want to do this, but I like. So I keep my phone out of my bedroom. Like it is, we don't have phones in don't have phones in our bedroom. I like to keep mine either in my office or in the kitchen. I also found when I kept it in my bathroom, guess what I was doing? Before I even peed in the morning, I'm like, oh, look at all, like what's going on here? And I'm like, well, I'm standing there. I'm like, this defeats the purpose. But again, curiosity. Yeah. Right. And so I keep it in either of those two places, depending on where my charger is at the time. And I make it a goal of mine, and like I kind of challenge myself, can I make it an hour? Can I make it 2 hours? Can I make it this? And the reason why this is so important is because, like we said about the dopamine highs and the crashes. Yeah. When you log on social media, or maybe it's not social media for you, I bet it is for many
Maybe it's
people.
A television show.
Right?
Whatever
it is. But in the conversation around being a CEO, we all run companies on social media. You wake up first thing in the morning, you've got likes and you've got messages because you've been sleeping all, right? And you've got notifications or whatever. That is a massive surge in dopamine.
Yep.
Right? Then what happens?
You crash down.
But what does your body naturally do that we don't even realize is doing so deep, so in the subconscious, is it's chasing that same high. Well, guess what? It's not going to get it. It can't get it because that initial high, you can't recreate that high. It's literally impossible to until the next morning. So what happens is that all day you're getting back on your phone, you don't even realize you're doing it, trying to get that same high, but you can't get it. It's like a drug addict. It's the same exact thing with a drug addict. The first time that they do a drug, they're like, oh, and then they chase the high forever.
It's also kind of like relationships. When you first start, you're in the honeymoon, you get that high, and then
literally
the rest of the relationship, you're like, oh my God, we need to get back to that.
It's like, remember that when you used to give me butterflies? It's like, sweetheart, they're not coming back. They might. Like every once in a while, my husband gives me butterflies, but it's tough.
It's different. Yeah, it's
right?
a whole different relationship.
But we want that high again. It's like, oh my God, that was so good. It was so intense. It was such a surge. So we're actually chasing that throughout the day without realizing it. So I've actually done studies on myself where I don't touch my phone for the first couple, or social media for the first couple hours. And then I see how much time did I spend on the app throughout the day. Versus if I did look at it throughout, in the morning, then how much time am I spending on the app? I'm spending almost double the amount of time on the app if I'm on it first thing in the morning.
Yeah, it extends it. I've noticed that as well.
It's insane.
That's one of the great things about the time thing on your iPhone, where it shows you how much you've been on apps and like certain tools.
Unless you ignore it.
Unless you ignore it.
Which, to be honest, we all have.
Yeah. But it's great to see like how much time you actually do spend. Yeah. And it's interesting because I've noticed that as well when I pull up that phone in the morning because it just happened to be there. Yep. And I tend to look at social media, the rest of my day kind of is wrecked in a way.
For sure.
Because I'm like, oh, I need to do this thing. Oh, I got to do it. And then I keep going back to it over and over. But if I give myself that time in the morning where I'm not.
Well, you also have to realize dopamine is responsible for productivity and forward motion of a goal, right? And excitement toward that. So if you're doing that big high and then that crash, you're literally running out. It's like, think about it as water in this glass, right? If I just like went like that and it was full and it spilled out and then it went down, that's gone. And then this is the amount of dopamine that we have left to get our stuff done throughout the day.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah. Have fun with that.
But I also want to eat healthy and I also want to go on a walk and I also want to make sure that I do these things. This is what you're working with right now. Dopamine is responsible for supporting you in progressing toward the goal or toward whatever task it is that you have. So we're really doing ourselves a massive disservice. And so can we create boundaries and structures around our phones, around our social media use, right? Around people who need us so that we then can have sustainable levels of focus, of attention, of energy. And yeah, we could break it down and say dopamine, epinephrines, serotonin, like we could break it all down, oxytocin if we wanted to, but we really don't need to. It's like, do we have the mental, physical, emotional capacity to be able to move forward? And the only person responsible for that is ourselves, in setting those boundaries and those structures around these things that we know aren't the best so that we can move forward toward the things.
I resonate with this a lot because, so my roommate and I, we're doing an intentional year together and we record every week to show the journey as we're doing this. Cause I wanted to be able to look back and I didn't want to be like, this is the beginning and this is the end. Right. You know how that is, right? Yeah. And around like a month into it, we bought Aura rings. I got Aura rings, right? And I will tell you that it's been a very credible tool to be able to use and look on my stats and go, oh, there was a spike in stress. Oh, I didn't sleep well because of this. And I would be able to actually track everything that's going on, whether I tagged that I was looking at my phone at night, whether I woke up and I looked at social media. Like I get really into the tags.
Yeah.
I'm like 67 to 69 degree bedroom. I created my own. And so to me, it was incredible to start looking at how much I had restorative time versus stress time. How much the things that I thought were calming me down, that I was resting
Yeah.
or I was something pleasurable, whatever it was actually something stressing my body out.
Yeah, that's huge. Most people don't realize that.
No. And there is good stress. Like going to the gym, you're naturally
Yeah.
going to be stressing your body out, but
For
it's
sure.
good stress. Or like going to the sauna or
Yeah.
the whatever, cold plunge.
Well, stress in and of itself is good. We
Yes.
have to remember that stress and cortisol, it is good for us. It strengthens our immune system. It's really good for us. But when it's not good is when it's too much,
Mhm.
and then we don't know how to recover from it.
And when it's prolonged, like
For sure.
lengthwise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so a lot of women will do that. But one of my good friends, she's gnarly burnout, depression, all the things, big brand, and she's like, well, my recovery is going to dance.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, so like high intensity hip hop dance is actually like very sympathetic nervous system, and it's very like dopamine boom. It's actually probably making things worse over the long term. She's like, no, that's my therapy. I'm like, no, it's not.
Mhm.
Right? Just like a lot of women are like, well, when I go to the gym, it's helpful for the gym is in a stressor on our body. And yes, it is a healthy stressor. But if you're in a state of burnout, or if you're in a state of I'm just tired,
Mhm.
especially a woman's body, because we do not have the ability to recover like a man does with their testosterone levels, that time at the gym can actually be doing more damage than good.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm going to go walk 5 miles. That actually might not be the best for you right now.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like really knowing what is putting me in this state of my mind and body, mental, physical, and emotional calm. Not just, well, I'm not connected to my phone, so this must be rest for me.
Yeah, so let's go a little bit into the alternative. So I love the structure. I love the dopamine description. What are some of the things that if someone's like listening to this and watching this that they can do instead? Because even that, the dancing, which I don't think a lot of people, they're like, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to move because science tells me that I need to go move my body, right? And I'm like, that's beautiful. Yes, you should absolutely go move your body. But are you stressing yourself out when you're at that dance class?
Yeah.
Or is it a slow, sensual dance class where you might
Mhm.
actually be like bringing yourself down into a different nervous system state? What are some of the other things that you found or that you've seen worked really well?
Mhm.
If you like the alternative to what you were just talking about?
Mhm. Mhm. I think anything that keeps you in your body is amazing. So yeah,
I'm down for that.
sensual dance class for sure.
Yeah.
But also, if that stresses you out because it's an edge, don't do it.
Or because you're trying to learn the moves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes dance classes I think are cool, and other times I'm like, dude, screw this. This is way too much work for my mind right now.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
just don't have I don't have it, right? But like what about yoga? What about like a yin yoga class? What about just a regular yoga class?
Oh.
What about instead of going to the gym, a walk, right? But not like I used to walk like a psychopath. Like pregnancy has definitely slowed me down a lot. Like I'm like, I can do this, and I would want my heart rate spiked, and I would listen to a podcast every time I'd walk, because heaven forbid you waste an hour of your time not listening to a podcast, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, what would it look like to leave my phone at home and to actually, instead of going on like a walk so I can get my 10,000 steps, but like to go on a trail and spend time in nature and then sit by the lake.
Be
Right,
in
like
water.
be in water, right? What would it look like? I got really big into paddleboarding when I was in my recovery, like because I would just go out on the water and I would just paddle and I would just sit out on the water, right? Like just jump in, and like what would that look like? What would it look like to pick up, heaven forbid, a fiction book?
Oh, I love fiction.
Right?
You are talking to like a bookworm.
Yeah, like what would it
and,
look like to reread Harry Potter?
Yeah.
What would it look like to, I know, heaven forbid, we like watch TV and admit it, but like go start a new series on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what
Make
would
it an
it
experience
completely?
instead of you falling into, and that's something I recommend all the time, instead of you like falling onto the couch because you're exhausted. What if you intentionally chose something you were really curious about, this new series, and you're like, I'm going to make it a movie night.
Yeah.
And you make the entire environment pleasurable, and you sit down and you're like, I'm just going to enjoy this. I'm going to get the popcorn. I'm going to snuggle up into this, I'm going to put the lights down, all of it.
Yeah.
Going to the movies
Yep.
where you can just detach and disconnect and like focus on this thing and experience it.
Yeah.
Okay. I love
like
that.
going anywhere, like putt-putting, the trampoline, right? Like what are these little things that are bringing you joy throughout your life? You know, like, and this is where I started baking. Like I was like, I'm curious about this. Could I bake? I wanted to just like, I had these bananas and like, can I just like whip up banana bread? And so it was like, I started to just explore things in life. One massive thing, I know it's so simple and easy, is to go outside first thing in the morning, get 15 to 20 minutes of sunlight.
I do this every morning, actually.
It is the best thing that you can do.
Yeah, when I had my Aura ring, when I started noticing that, I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna go stand. I literally go out to the front porch, because the sun comes up over there, and for just even 5 minutes, I'll sit there and I'll just breathe and I'll let the sun just bake me.
Yep.
And then I'll come back and I'll make my decaf coffee and I'll go out on the back deck and I'll have my time alone and I'll just slowly move into the day. But being in the sun is so important, especially in the morning.
Well, and it supports your vitamin D levels, it supports your natural serotonin levels, and it actually starts to regulate your cortisol. And so it actually helps you, getting sun first thing in the morning versus a screen helps you be able to sleep and rest and recover. Literally starts to support you in naturally healing and having a good circadian rhythm. So like, what does that look like? I mean, there were times I would wake up first thing in the morning, I'd grab my phone, and then I'd be in bed for like an hour scrolling, and then I'd feel like a lump on a log, and I'm so curious why, right? So it's like things like that. I personally love cold exposure. It does spike your dopamine, but over time it evens it back out. I love ice baths first thing in the morning. I love cold plunging, but I tried it. I don't cold plunge first thing in the morning. I'll do that later on in the afternoon because it can spike your dopamine, but it also can sustain it longer, like throughout the next 3 hours of your day.
I love that. I feel like for me, I'm a little bit against I can't do cold plunges all the time.
Listen, it's not for everyone, because if your body's in a state of severe stress and burnout, cold plunging is probably not good because it is a stressor, right? But it is something that when I came out of burnout, I started to do regularly.
Well, I would say too, for me, what I did, because I don't have access to a cold plunge like in my home right now, but what I started doing, because I love saunas and I do that 3 or 4 times a week, sometimes more. Never used to like saunas, not steam rooms, hot, dry saunas. I love them. But with the cold plunge side of things, now when I wake up in the morning, I wash my face with cold water. Like first thing in the morning. And I have this really beautiful soap from Sonara Skincare, which is all natural and everything. And then I'll go and do an ice bath for my face.
So good.
Or I have one of like those ice rollers.
Yes, that's what I do every morning.
Yeah, they're just.
I've been doing it for like 7 months now.
Yeah,
it's so nice.
You're there and they're like you're dripping water all over everything on your face.
Mess.
It is a mess. Yeah, but those are so nice and it's convenient. So I know that a lot. We were talking about environment earlier. We were talking about sustainable practices and habits, and I really just want to like close on that. This part is looking at what those. If you don't have access to a cold plunge. We live in Austin. We are both very lucky to be in this bubble of people where saunas and cold plunges and all these things are very normalized here. But not everybody has access to it. Where can you build the sustainable practices and not practices where you have to check them off the list because you're like, gotta do this thing, which causes more stress in your body. But it's something that you actually are curious about and enjoy. Where can you build the environment and the small convenient things that to be able to just start tweaking your way of life, basically. So even the roller, like the ice roller, it's $5 on Amazon, you guys. Fill it with water.
Isn't it so good? It's so good.
I'm like, all right, okay, this is great.
The best $5 you'll ever spend. It's so good.
And so where do you shift the environment, right? Leave your phone out of your bedroom if you can. And for anybody who's like, well, I can't, I gotta wake up in the morning to an alarm.
Buy an alarm clock.
Buy an alarm clock. Like
they've got great regular alarm clocks.
They actually have the sunrise alarm clock.
I used to have that one,
which is nice. I have a Google Home, so I'm like, just set me an alarm. Wake up with this, which is beautiful. If I want to wake up with an alarm, I don't usually. And where can you, in the beginning of the conversation about my roommate and us like filming every day, one thing that we did was we need to make the environment set up for the willpower to not have to come in to force us to do something. So even the set that you're looking at right now, if you're watching this is upstairs. We made it convenient to be able to embody a different version of ourselves versus the habits or pushing ourselves with willpower to do something new. It's like, no, we're going to set up the environment for the identity and the version of our life that we actually want to live. And if you're in burnout or not, if you just want to shift your life, like you can start by shifting your environment.
For sure.
That's like number one, I would say.
Your environment's going to support your change.
1,000%.
Or it's going to keep you the same, or you're going to go backwards. So it's, what are the things that you're wanting to achieve? What are the things that you're wanting to become, right? And then what are your tools? Right? So it's like the vision, and then what are your tools? And then how can we structure the environment? Right? So for me, my phone is out of the room, but I have things like naturally that I just do throughout my morning, and everything's already set up. Like my ice bowl's there, the ice thing's already in the freezer. My back patio is right. Like
everything set up.
Right? Like I'm going in front of my back patio before can go to my phone. Like it's on the way, right? So it's like, just go on outside and get my sun, get my movement.
And that reminds me of have you ever read Atomic Habits?
Actually, I've never read Atomic Habits.
Oh my God, you totally should, because this is really...
It's one of those books that everyone asks me about, like Atomic Habits. I'm like, never read it.
Okay, so I started shifting my environment, and then it's funny because I read Atomic Habits after, and I was like, you're confirming so much. Like, I love when you get stuff.
Tap into the same energy.
It's amazing. But he calls it like a reducing friction. And so if you set up your environment in a way that reduces friction and makes the thing that you're trying to move away from farther away or more hard or whatever it is, you'll actually more embody whatever it is that you want in terms of...
Yeah, because at the end of the day, our brains are really freaking lazy.
We are.
And they don't change because our brain doesn't shift because it wants to. It's just because it has to.
Yeah.
So how do we kind of use that to our advantage?
Yeah.
Right? Like, just understanding our neurology, like how can we start to recognize and then use that? So for me, now I could probably keep my phone in my room and I would probably walk right past it, because I've just formed those pathways that I'm not even connected to it in the morning anymore, right? Like, I'm not even attached to it at all.
Yeah.
But it took me months to create the environment to then form that pathway so that I'm not attached to it anymore. So like for me in the morning and doing these dopamine activities and really, like, I'm just exploring so much with what I'm learning from neuroscience. I'm more driven right now by how good can I feel and how much energy can I have throughout the day, and how much like just really good, like at the end of the day, going to bed being like, ooh, that was a really good day. That's not attached to results or something outside of me. Right. And so that's like my driver right now. And so I'm finding the structures and the systems and the things to be able to do that. So it's like, what is your driver? What are the tools that you have? What are the tools that you need? And then moving from there, how can you structure the environment around that?
Oof, I love that. I love this whole conversation, and it's very applicable and practical, because I know that a lot of the times when people start talking about, well, how do I want to change my life and all these things, we don't often talk about the science behind it, or there's too much of the science. People are like, okay, but practically, how do I move forward?
Yep.
And I know for me, mine always starts with vision.
Yeah.
That's why I call it a turn on vision. I was like, what in my life is going to turn me on? What is it that in the morning I'm going to love my life waking up, where I can make it just a little bit more pleasurable.
Right.
And then on top of that, what are that's a standard of that vision.
Yeah.
What are the systems that need to support it? And then what's the support that I might need? If you're in a partnership and you're doing this thing, can your partner get on board?
For sure.
Or can you bring your kids along the way? Whatever it is and whatever your life is, can you partner with someone? Can you set up those standard systems and support to be able to do that?
Yeah.
And so make it harder to do the bad things and easier to do the good things.
The good things that are going to add to your life.
Yes.
And your mood and your happiness and your productivity, like wherever it is that you're at in the season of life.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're closing out this episode, and we will meet you guys in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this Wildly Satisfied production. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we would love it if you would share it with someone that you love, leave a review, or come tag us on social media at Wildly Satisfied.